Hi everyone, my name is Charlie and today I want to share my thoughts on An Academic Question by Barbara Pym. This novel follows the character of Caro Grimstone, our narrator, who is married to Alan. Alan is an ambitious scholar who is at a bit of a war with this man who's supposedly retiring from this university he works at. And when Caro gets a voluntary position reading to a former scholar, archaeologist, anthropologist, that sort of thing, he tasks her with stealing this person's manuscript to inform an article he wishes to write. And what follows is this comedy of manners, it says on the back. I don't know what the difference is between a comedy of manners and a comedy of errors, but I think that the reason we're saying manners is because of the way that Caro is living in the world. And this seems to be a world that is in flux. She is an incredibly middle-class, conservative person. She has a nanny for her daughter who she really has to do everything, and she is quite the keeping up appearances character in that she knows how to behave, how she ought to behave. She knows the way things ought to be done, and when certain things don't fit in with that idea, she does not really know how to cope. At the moment, this has been my favourite Barbara Pym novel that I've read. I don't know whether it's because the novel was told from the perspective of Caro, so it led to more humour. It didn't go into so many other people's lives, that it was just in Caro's head, so you only got her opinion of the world, so it created this closeness between myself and the narrator. I also don't know whether it's because I've read a few Barbara Pym now, so I'm really getting used to her style. But I have to say that I did laugh more with this than I had with others. I like the episodic nature of this novel, and I just really liked the character of Caro. I like the idea that this was a book in which we're seeing the changing world. So whilst Caro is this conservative woman, she bemoans the fact that more liberal people are coming into the world. She has a friend who has emigrated from the West Indies with his mother, Coco. Although people are questioning whether he's a homosexual or whether he has some ancestors who might have been black, he very much despises that idea. And at one point you do get to see him have a visit from these black relatives, and you get to recognise the racism that was actually prevalent within this middle class community who really wanted to force all of the black people to just live in one place. Like, they were saying they weren't racist and accepting of the people being in the country, but they just did not ever want to have to see them. And I think that that's one of the things that I like that Pym touched on a little bit, is the double standards within the middle class community who want to give off certain views because they might be popular at the time, but they really don't believe in them. There still ended up being some racist language within the book, but I can't tell whether it was politically correct for the time to say this. I don't know whether Pym was being careful with her words. That's all I can say on the matter, but I did appreciate that Pym was talking about that and how the middle classes believed that black people behaved. And so we do get this discussion of class and race, even behind this very humorous book. And I think that that's something I'm finding with the women writers in this period, and I say it about Elizabeth Taylor as well, is that they discuss some pretty heavy topics, but it can get hidden behind the story so that it bears rereading for that reason. And they're able to discuss, I do wonder whether they're able to discuss these topics because people weren't really looking at their books, because people were really maligning them because of their gender. I know that certain people have said they ignored Barbara Pym and they ignored Elizabeth Taylor because they saw them as women's writers. I'm 3 for 3 with Barbara Pym now, in that I've enjoyed every single thing that I've read by her. This just had a liveliness to it that I had not expected, and when I had the chance to sit down and read it, I just sped through this. I couldn't put it down. I was like, I could finish it here and then I could stop reading here and then finish it in the morning. But nope, didn't do that. I had to make sure that I got this one read, and I'm very glad that I did, because I marvel at Pym's characterisation, and I marvel at the way in which she discusses the world, and she provides such insights to a time and a changing world, and the way in which women were expected to behave based upon their status. And I just at times empathised with Caro, and at other times just felt like she really ought not to be saying what she's saying, or doing what she's doing even. And I like that I'm able to recognise the character's flaws and still enjoy the book for what it was. Anyway, that was an academic question by Barbara Pym. If you've read this book and would like to discuss it, then please feel free to do so in the comments. I hope that you have enjoyed this video, and until next time, that is all.